Gentlemen, welcome back. Oh boy. Coming to you from an undisclosed Airbnb location in Des Moines, Iowa. Haven't made the move yet. That'll be the end of the month. But we are out of our old house, so. Other than that, it's the same dumb hat, same stupid mustache, and same wonderful ties. If anyone was expecting some new wrinkles and excitement to the new videos this year, you will be sorely disappointed. It's going to be the same stupid thing. But hopefully this time you guys can take advantage of the list that I send out, and you'll be able to follow along and make all the cocktails. I try to make it pretty basic. The idea being that all the stuff you buy for the drinks this season, assuming you don't use it all up, next season I'll send out another list with newer stuff and make cocktails that involve both. So you're kind of building your bar up as you go. Again, you don't have to. Who gives a shit, right? But this is what I enjoy to do. Because why not? All right, so might as well get things started. The drink that I decided on for the league this season, and almost entirely decided on this because it's what I had on hand after packing up most of my bar. So it was easy for me. That and the list that I had already gotten started making involved things in this drink, and so I figured I might as well use it. It also happens to be one of my favorite all-time drinks. I know I've said that about a lot of these. I do like drinks in general. But this one is a really unique one. It's kind of a weird one. Like I said, some people might not like it. If you looked it up online using the ingredients, like I said you could, or whatever, you would know that it's called a Trinidad Sour. It's called a Trinidad Sour because it is the primary spirit, the primary ingredients and alcohol in it is actually aromatic bitters. Angostura for most. I make my own bitters, so I'll be using my own homemade aromatic bitters, but it's that's the primary ingredient, and Angostura and those bitters originated from and come from Trinidad, so it is a Trinidad Sour. It only has half an ounce of traditional spirit. Rye whiskey is what the recipe calls for, but you can try it with any whiskey. So that, and then it's equal parts. Oh yeah, I'm getting back into it. I'll remember. I'll have the recipe printed briefly while I'm talking about this too. But it's going to be half an ounce of rye whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, fresh preferably, and then 1.5 ounces of aromatic bitters. And 1.5 ounces of orgeat. I never know how to pronounce it, but it's essentially a like an almond simple syrup of sorts. It's, if you ever have Mai Tais, like real Mai Tais, actual Mai Tais, that's a primary ingredient in it, and it's phenomenal. Maybe I'll make a Mai Tai sometime for you guys because they're delicious. But all right, well, let's get started. This, because it uses fresh lemon juice, it will be shaken, not stirred. You want a chilled glass. I'm chilling one right now as opposed to leaving it in the freezer. It's not a normal cocktail glass because I don't have any of my stuff here. I'm at the whim of this undisclosed Airbnb. And as such, I also don't have a lot of things that I would normally use. So instead of my typical jigger drinking measuring cup, I just have a 1/4 cup measurer, which is 2 ounces. So I'll just eyeball everything and it'll be good enough, I'm sure. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this in the past. You want to fill your shaker with all the ingredients before you add ice so it doesn't melt quicker than it needs to. And you want to start with with the smallest amounts first, so that if you screw it up, you're not wasting a large amount of stuff, and work your way up. So that would be the rye. 1/2 ounce, which would be 1/4 of a 1/4 cup. So I use Few rye whiskey out of the great state of Illinois. But you'll notice when I release my list, I have some recommendations for kind of middle of the road price wise spirits and things. And I think I say Maker's Mark is a good one. I think that's a pretty standard. I know that's the bourbon, but it's not rye. But still, that's the standard whiskey, I think, that I would use. So let's see. That's about 1/4 cup, give or take. All right. I'm sure if anyone you ran out and bought a bottle of whiskey just for this, I'm sure you'll be excited to use 1/2 ounce in this drink. Have that whole bottle left to all the fun and excitement. So, all right, I'm going to need 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. It is also garnished with a lemon peel, so I'm actually going to get the peel first before I cut this in half and juice it. It's just easier that way. All right, and this cute green Cuisinart knife I found in the drawers of this place. I also don't have a juicer, and anyone who watched the videos last year might have remembered that I have multiple ways to juice a lemon if you need to. So now the key here for me is trying to figure out what the hell 3/4 ounce is on this cup. Just a little bit more than the whiskey. Looks about right. And then we get to the orgeat. I'm sure somebody will be able to pronounce that word for me someday. But until then, I'll just keep saying it 2 different ways every time, because that's fun. All right. I hope everyone had a good off season, whatever that entailed. Probably lots of bedding. That seems to be the real thing in Iowa these days. Bedding. Am I right, folks? 1 1/4. Did I say 1 1/2? It's 1 1/4 ounce. My vision's not as good as it should be. That's okay. So that's a little more than half of this measuring cup. This is a very, I said that half of you would like this drink and half of you would hate it, and that might be a little optimistic even. As you can tell with all the bitters in it, it has a very distinct flavor. It can be a little harsh, but I think it tastes great. I think it's really delicious and interesting and well balanced, you know. I mean, it's equal parts bitters and sweetener, essentially. The orgeat is a simple syrup, a sweetener. So when you equal parts that, it helps balance it out some. And then depending on what kind of whiskey you use, a bourbon can be a little sweeter, so that would also add a little sweetness to it. A rye tends to have a little more spice to it. So, and then the main ingredient event. That's a dumb thing to say. It's the bitters. Like I said, I make my own. That's just something I started doing earlier in the springtime, just because, I don't know, seemed like a fun thing to do. When you don't work, you come up with lots of fun stuff to do around the house. And as long as most of the time it's a productive thing for the whole household, nobody else seems to mind. This a little less productive for everyone, but I enjoy it. I make my own tonic syrup as well, and that's something that Karen likes. So, all right. After that, you'll add the ice and shake the shit out of it. I'll be right back. Time swipe. All right. Did I say time swipe? I think I meant to say time wipe. Either way, it's nonsensical. So be it. All right. So you've got the ice in there with everything. Now let's give it some good shakes and pretend like I'm talking while I do it. And you'll think, oh, what's he saying? I can't hear him. Yeah. It's pretty good. And he never got it out of his ass. All right, so once you've gotten it all shaken up, nice and cold, I usually like to shake it until like I can barely hold it, like it gets really cold. Take your chilled glass. If you were chilling it with ice like I was, you got to dump out the ice. And pour in your drink. I love the color of this drink. It's weird. Especially if you use store-bought bitters. Oftentimes they have dye and stuff in them to give them a little extra ink. So they even have more of a maroon flavor or coloring. But it is just one of my favorite all-time drinks. It's weird. It's such a weird and unexpected drink. But I hope you guys enjoy it because it's definitely not one you're going to run across very often. Cheers to everyone. God damn it, do I like that drink. Well, I hope everyone has a successful draft in 2 days. It feels kind of anticlimactic a little bit this year with no draft parties and stuff, you know. So here's to hoping that this league is still eventful and fun this season. And if anyone finds themselves in Minnesota for some stupid reason, look me up. Yeah? All right. Cheers, group. What the fuck? Bye.